Welcome. My name is Earl Amin, and you're listening to the 2020 Forsythe podcast, where CEOs, presidents, and leaders of small to global companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because leadership knows how to listen and be concise. So let's get to it. First of all, welcome. And in just a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you for having me, Earl. My name is Brian Hamilton, and I'm the president of CU Direct Connect. CU Direct Connect is the BPO, or business process outsourcing division of a financial technology company that provides loan systems and services for credit unions and community banks.
Very good. Very good. Well, tell me, what's the best thing about being the president of such a company?
You know, I think it's about impact, and it's about, you know, in all of the years that we work our way through our careers and our organizations, you consistently have thoughts of, if I was ever in charge, this is how it would work, right? Mm-hmm. I would be a corner office CEO, or I would be this engaged, or I would run it this way. And I don't mean that from a self-serving perspective. I mean that from a way to say, gosh, I can actually have an impact and back test some of my theories on culture and operations and execution. It's been a privilege.
Outstanding. Well, I'm sure you've heard it. I've certainly heard from other leaders that say that leading a team by itself can be a challenge. But when you add on leading a team and seeing the road ahead, that's a real challenge. What are your thoughts about that?
That's a great question. I think it's about building the bench strength and the support network around you to differentiate a little bit between management and leadership, meaning tactical, running the operations, and where are we going to go in the future. And so I'm very fortunate to work with a highly capable team that, frankly, I can stay out of their way. And so we actually have it really broken into specific time horizons, and it's well known. So our head of operations, she's always looking a month to 3 months out, running the day-to-day and ensuring optimization. Then we have another leader who's kind of in the middle, who is working on small ventures before they scale. And so he's typically 6 months out. And then I'm working on things that will probably come to market within the next 9 to 12 months. And so we kind of divide and conquer that way, but we keep very, very close to each other. And at least weekly, we all know what each other is doing. The trap that I found in that sometimes in leadership is that we get so hung up on, I'm leading strategy, that we lose touch with the day-to-day. And that's why it's important for us to stay so connected, because there's certainly times that, you know, we would need to be involved to ensure that our current operations are thriving.
Outstanding. Well said. Now, let me ask you, out of that you are currently practicing, what key piece of insights do you want to share with and for the benefit of other leaders, presidents, CEOs even?
Well, there's a lot we can learn about the tactical side of business and digital transformation and all of that. But I still think that at our level, Earl, it's about the leadership traits that matter. And I was really humbled and appreciative of a comment that somebody made to me a few months ago, just in passing. And she obviously had no idea how much it affected me. But she said, Brian, when I first met you, one of the things you said is, hey, anything I can do to help, just let me know. It's a pretty, benign statement. And she said, there are so many leaders that say that, but they don't follow through on that, right? It's not that they're disingenuous, it's that there's not action behind that. And we had hit a path last summer where things were just absolutely crazy, actually this summer, right? And recruiting, there's been a nationwide shortage, right? And the managers and leaders that would normally lead the recruiting, they're just trying to run the operations. So I stepped in, right? I stepped in and handled the interviews, screened all the resumes and applications, worked with HR, worked on the salaries, all the way up to where all they had to do was one interview and they could say yes or no, and this candidate was going through. And she said, that was huge. That was really big for you at your level to step all the way back down and literally take something off of our plate. She said, I didn't think someone would actually do that. So sometimes you still got to get your hands dirty, and you still want to be strategic about it, but from time to time, you got to get your hands dirty. And when you do, the credibility I think we build with our teams and the culture that builds is invaluable.
Well said. Outstanding. Now, tell me, in your journey, what other successful leaders, CEOs, presidents like yourself would you like to acknowledge or give a shout out to and should be on my podcast?
Oh goodness. Tony Botel, the CEO of CU Direct, who is the parent company of the company that I lead, has been a fantastic leader. Led that organization for well over 20 years. There's a retired leader named Rudy Hanley, who was the CEO of Schools First Federal Credit Union out of Orange County, that had quite an impact on me and shaping some of the leadership attributes that I've picked up along the way.
Very good. All right, thank you. We received that. Now, for the final question, Brian, how do you celebrate a win?
Well, first, I think it's important that we do celebrate wins. Sometimes we get small wins at that, right? In my industry, a credit union can have a record month in volume or in revenue, but if the service levels have fallen down, it's a fail. And so my team providing some of those services, right, can at times just have fantastic production months, but still not feel like they've won. And we have to pause. And I'm not saying placate. I'm not saying participation trophies. But what I'm saying is, when you have a win, you need to pause and make sure the team does that. We'll do it remotely, even with little dance parties. Like literally, a manager will call out, "Hey, great day, dance party! Everybody turn on their video." We'll send out gift cards, food, and feed them even at home. And then at least once a quarter, where possible and when possible, we just get together in person just to spend some time not at the computer and not talking about all the operations, because building those personal relationships is the foundation of trust. And that foundation of trust is what we need to get through the most challenging times.
Very good. Well said. Well, Brian, it's been such a pleasure having you on today. Let me ask you this. How can people find you? Easily.
So I'm on LinkedIn, Brian Hamilton, CU Direct Connect, or they can send me an email at brian.hamilton@cudc.org.
Excellent. This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Forsythe podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Brian, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Earl.
From one dynamic CEO to another, from one impactful company to another, up next is an equally great leader worthy to be listened to. First of all, welcome. And in just a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Dave Ashworth. I'm the co-founder of a company called the Quantify Group. And we provide small to medium-sized businesses with outsourced bookkeeping and accounting solutions to help them get better insights from a financial standpoint so that they can continue to grow and meet their goals.
Outstanding. And what, Dave, is the best thing about being the co-founder of your company?
That's a great question. I was thinking about that the other day. And for me, it is building a business with the culture that I want to build, that I feel like serves our clients best, but also provides a really good working environment for our employees. Coming out of kind of a larger corporate world, great experience, but I felt some of the environmental and culture things were lacking a bit. And so my goal was to build a company that was enjoyable to work for not only our employees, but enjoyable to work with from a client standpoint as well.
Okay, excellent. Now, I hear from other leaders, as I'm sure you do, that leading their team can by itself be a challenge. But when you add on to it, seeing the road ahead, that can be an additional challenge. What are your thoughts?
Certainly can. I think this past year and a half has certainly proved that we do not know what the future is going to hold. There's so many factors, market factors, what your clients are doing, what your employees are doing, just so many things that are going on in the world. Again, like we see in this past year, something that we never could have even imagined could happen in our world has happened. And as leaders, we just need to be able to adapt to those things, to set goals and to set the plan of where we want to go, but be willing to adapt to what is going on, to things that are outside of our control.
Agreed. Well, out of that, what key piece of insight do you want to share with and for the benefit of other leaders out there, other CEOs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing that has helped me kind of get to where I am has just been following my passion and following my heart. There are so many pieces of information and things being thrown at us all the time in the world that we live, whether that's from the news or social media or people around us. And you can always find somebody with an opposite opinion of what you should do and where you should go if you want to look for it. And it can be overwhelming at times. So I think just following your heart, figuring out where you want to go, what you are passionate about, and then just kind of pushing aside some of the distractions, just following that path with everything that you have. Again, there's just so much noise in the world that if you start to listen to that over here, then it's coming from over here, and then you don't really get to go, where your heart is taking you. So I'll just say follow your heart, follow your passion. I know it sounds cliche, but that's what's helped me the most, I think.
It's not cliche at all. Well said. So in your journey, what other successful CEOs like yourself would you like to acknowledge or give a shout out to and should be on my podcast?
Yeah, so there's one that came to mind. Her name is Erica. She runs a similar business to ours using the outsource model, but she's on the operational standpoint, has a corporate background, but she's just an incredible person. And she's really good at what she does, designing processes and procedures for businesses to take what they have and kind of take it to the next level. Just an amazing person, amazing entrepreneur that I think would be great to have on here and kind of tell her story a little bit.
Excellent. Thank you for that. We receive it.
Sure.
So, thanks. So now for the final question, how do you celebrate a win, Dave?
Yeah, it's another good one. I feel like that's something that myself and probably a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with some. So it's not something that we do a great job at. We're really good at focusing on our failures and overcoming those and using those for fuel. But a lot of times, at least for me personally, I feel like we do a poor job at celebrating those wins and really looking at what we've been able to accomplish. And so when I saw that question, I was a little bit taken back because I realized that we really don't do a good job. So I'm going to take a rain check on that, and I'll get back to you some point because that is something that I do think we need to do a better job at.
Outstanding. All right. So it's been a great pleasure having you on, Dave. How can people find you?
Yeah, so we're on LinkedIn. So just the Quantify group, they can find me on LinkedIn, spend a little bit of time on Facebook, and then our website is www.thequantifygroup.com.
Outstanding. This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Forsythe podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Dave, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you for listening to the 2020 Forsythe podcast, where CEOs share who they are and what they do in the world that makes a difference. For more entrepreneurial and life-changing insights, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes accounts. All of the links are available below. See you in the next episode.